The courtroom isn't silent, it's holding its breath. Meri Brown stands at the center, trembling not from fear, but fury. Her hands shake as she turns toward the man who once called her his soulmate. Kody refuses to look up. Robyn? She's already pale, mascara perfect for now. The judge leans forward. Meri's lips move slowly, 4 words that rip through the air like a blade. That child isn't yours. And in that instant, the Brown family myth begins to burn. What follows is betrayal, DNA deception, and a secret buried beneath 12 long years of silence. The courthouse doors creak open like an omen, warning anyone who dares to step inside. Kody Brown stands rigid at the defense table. His hair pulled tight, his jaw locked. He looks ready for battle, but his enemy tonight isn't the justice system. It's his own past. Beside him, Robyn clutches her tissues like armor. Her face calm now, but soon mascara will run like ink from a broken confession. Across the room, Meri sits poised. Ice blue calm, her gaze fixed not on Kody, but on Robyn, not anger, not hate, something worse. Heartbreak sharpened into resolve. The judge enters. Murmurs die. The trial of Meri Brown versus Kody and Robyn Brown will now begin. This isn't about custody. This isn't about defamation. This is about truth. Truth that's fought 12 years to crawl into the light. A DNA test, a child. A lie that can burn the entire Brown legacy to ash. 7 months earlier, Meri had vanished from the spotlight. No interviews. No cryptic Instagram posts. Just silence until Christine called one night. Meri, I have to tell you something. And it's going to hurt. Old hospital files. Birth registrations. Dates that didn't match what Kody and Robyn had sworn for years. A tiny crack, and Meri did the unthinkable. She ordered a private DNA test. Not for drama. For closure. When the results came, she nearly collapsed on her kitchen floor. 99% proof that Solomon Brown was not Kody's biological son. Now she's in court. Every betrayal burned into her memory like scar tissue. Kody once told her, "You're the glue, Meri. You hold us together." But he forgot to mention, only when it was convenient. When Robyn arrived, Meri wasn't replaced overnight. She was erased piece by piece. Now she's back for the truth. And the truth has teeth. The lawyer's voice cuts like a scalpel. This case is not about resentment. It's about deception. A woman discarded, a child used as a pawn, and a man who rewrote history to save face. Kody shifts. Robyn flinches. They know what's coming. Kody takes the stand first, smug. We've had our issues. Meri's always been dramatic. He smiles. He's practiced this. He thinks he's still in control. Until the lawyer opens a sealed envelope. Mr. Brown, do you recognize this document? He blinks. I don't know what that is. It's a DNA paternity test conducted 6 months ago. It shows, with 99.9% certainty, that you are not the biological father of Solomon Brown. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Robyn's hand shoots to her mouth. Kody's head drops. Meri doesn't move. The silence is thick, then whispers ignite. The judge slams his gavel. Order! Meri finally leans forward. He always knew, she says. He didn't care. He used that child to cement Robyn's place, to push the rest of us out. Christine and Janelle exchange stunned glances in the gallery. They didn't expect this bomb so soon. But Meri's lawyer isn't done. We have evidence, emails, messages, showing Kody and Robyn knew for years. They used the lie to manipulate this family's public image. Robyn sobs. The tissue pyramid collapses. Kody stares at the press cameras. He knows this isn't just a courtroom battle anymore. It's a public execution. Outside, reporters swarm. Meri! What are you hoping to achieve? But she walks past them, whispering to her attorney, this isn't revenge. It's redemption. Flashback, Robyn's kitchen, years ago. If anything ever came out, Robyn whispered, it would ruin Kody. Now, Meri realizes it wasn't Kody she wanted to protect. It was herself. Back inside, a nurse takes the stand. She confirms hospital records, and one more thing. There was another man. He came to see Robyn in the hospital. Not Kody. They fought. Loud. We were told to keep it quiet. The room erupts. Kody hides his face. The judge calls a recess. Court will resume tomorrow. Until then, no contact with media. Meri stands, composed. Christine and Janelle nod in silent solidarity. For the first time in years, the sisterhood feels whole again. Robyn exits through a side door, her mascara now a confession. Kody lingers, eyes following Meri as she walks out. He knows what tomorrow brings. Because tomorrow, the other man takes the stand. And his testimony won't just end the marriage, it could start a criminal case. The truth isn't done yet. And when it comes tomorrow, it won't whisper. It will roar. It will roar. Leave a comment below. Do you believe Kody knew all along? Or was there someone else pulling the strings? Because today, in this courtroom, the air isn't just cold from the AC, it's frozen by truth. Everyone knows now. Solomon Brown may not be Kody's child. And that revelation didn't just break trust. It detonated the entire foundation of the Brown family. The gallery is packed. No cameras this time. The judge forbade them after yesterday's chaos. But the faces watching? Christine, Janelle, even Logan, Kody's eldest son, sits with arms folded, his expression a wall of quiet rage. Everyone's whispering about one thing. The next witness. The man Meri said would end it all. Then the courtroom doors open. A man in his late 40s steps through, dark blue jacket, pressed shirt, eyes like someone holding a grenade with no pin. His name, Darren Holt. At first, no one recognizes him. Not even Kody, but when Robyn sees his face, the color drains from hers. A pen slips from her hand. Her lips move, a silent no. Not him. Too late. The judge gestures for Darren to take the stand. The room feels it. That thick, trembling energy before something explodes. He's sworn in. Voice trembling but steady enough to pierce. I'm not here to hurt anyone, he begins. But I've kept this secret for 12 years. And the truth? It has to live somewhere. Meri's attorney steps forward. Mr. Holt, please tell the court, how are you connected to Robyn Brown? A pause, a sigh. I dated Robyn before she married Kody, on and off for 3 years. In Utah, Kody shifts unbothered. Everyone knew Robyn had a past. But the lawyer presses further. Were you in contact with her while she was pregnant with Solomon? The room goes still. Darren nods. Yeah, she called me. Said she was scared. Said things weren't clear with Kody. She needed help. Robyn's eyes close. Tears, regret. Or fear. And did you go see her in the hospital? Yes, he says quietly. The day after Solomon was born. She told me. I had to see him. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. The judge bangs the gavel. Let him speak. What did you do when you saw the child? Darren's eyes glaze over. He looked like me. The words drop like a gunshot. Kody slams the table. That's a lie. Mr. Brown, one more outburst and you'll be removed. The judge warns. Robyn's head drops. Her body curls inward, like someone trying to disappear. Did Robyn ever tell you the child might be yours? Darren nods, voice trembling. She did. That night. Said the timelines were too close. Said if anyone ever found out, it would ruin everything. And why did you stay silent for 12 years? She begged me to. Said Kody would raise him. Said it was best for Solomon. And I believed her. The courtroom doesn't breathe. One sentence has changed everything. He looked like me. Meri sits still, hands clasped, eyes unblinking. She's not gloating. Not crying, just accepting the weight of what she's always known. Kody's shaking his head, slowly, rhythmically. Shock? Or the slow realization that his empire of illusion is collapsing in real time? The lawyer goes for the kill. Mr. Holt, did you ever ask for a DNA test? No, I wanted to. But I was afraid. And now? Darren looks up, steady. Yes, I'll take one now. The courtroom freezes. Even the judge hesitates. Then leans forward. Noted, we will proceed with verification via a court-ordered test. Robyn finally speaks, voice cracking. This isn't fair. They're twisting everything. The judge's voice cuts through like a blade. You will have your chance, Mrs. Brown. I suggest you prepare carefully. Court recess. And outside, the world erupts. Reporters swarm like vultures. Social media explodes. Not Kody's kid trends for hours. Inside the courthouse hallway, Meri and Christine meet eyes for the first time in years. Christine's voice trembles. You were right all along. We thought you were bitter. But you were just ahead of us. Meri doesn't smile. She just says softly, it still hurts. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, Kody's fury ignites. You knew, he snarls. You knew all this time and you let me look like a fool. Robyn fires back, voice breaking. You were never there. You were too busy playing patriarch to care. I needed someone, and Darren, he was there. Their lawyers step between them. But the damage is already done. The judge isn't playing anymore. Tomorrow, Robyn will testify. Under oath. No cameras. No protection. Just truth or perjury. There's no more middle ground. That night, Meri returns to her hotel. She locks the door and exhales a breath she's held since the trial began. On the nightstand, an old photo, all 5 wives smiling. Forced smiles, but smiles nonetheless. You lied to all of us, she whispers. Flashback, Robyn, years ago, sitting beside her, eyes wet. I would never do that to you, Meri, she had said. Tears, then. But were they tears of guilt? Or strategy? Tomorrow the answer comes. Day 3 begins. And this time, Robyn Brown will finally face the truth. Under oath. Under oath. She entered like a ghost who had forgotten how to haunt. Robyn Brown, her lawyer's hand clutching her elbow, moved through the courtroom with a kind of hollow grace. Her face was carved into stillness, but her eyes screamed one thing. This is my last chance. The clerk's voice echoed, Do you swear to tell the truth? Robyn nodded faintly. I do. When she took the stand, the air thickened. Even the fluorescent lights seemed to dim under the weight of what was coming. The attorney stepped forward. Mrs. Brown, you heard the testimony. Did you ever suspect that Solomon might not be Mr. Brown's biological son? A tremor passed across her lips. Her throat tightened. I did. Across the room, Kody's jaw clenched. His eyes squeezed shut like a man waiting for an impact that had already arrived. Did you inform Kody? Robyn's voice broke into a whisper. No, I couldn't. He was already unraveling. Christine was gone, Janelle had shut down, and Meri, she was a ghost of herself. If Kody knew, it would have destroyed what little was left of him. The lawyer pressed forward. So instead you let him adopt Solomon as his son. I did it not to hurt him, Robyn blurted, hands trembling. I did it to protect the family. But you lied, came the cold reply. There was silence, long, suffocating silence. Then softly, Robyn said, Yes. The judge's expression was stone, but behind it was the kind of disappointment that lingers long after the gavel falls. You knowingly committed paternity fraud, the attorney continued. You understand the legal consequences of that? Robyn swallowed, barely nodding. But before we proceed, the attorney said, one final question. Was there anyone else who helped you keep this secret? Robyn froze. Her eyes darted downward, then upward, then around the room. Finally, she exhaled a breath that seemed to take years off her soul. There was someone else, she said quietly. Someone who knew from the very start. The courtroom rippled with murmurs. Meri leaned forward. Christine's whisper brushed against Janelle's ear. Who? The lawyer tilted his head. Who do you mean, Mrs. Brown? Robyn's eyes darted once more, then locked onto one face. Janelle. The sound that followed wasn't human. It was disbelief. Gasps tore through the gallery. Janelle sat upright, her face drained of color. What are you talking about? You knew. Robyn's voice cracked open like glass. You said to bury it. You said it would ruin the kids. The room erupted, reporters scrambling, voices colliding, the judge slamming his gavel until wood splintered. Enough! We are adjourned until tomorrow, the judge declared. Mrs. Brown, you will provide a full statement, and if your claim is false, you will be held in contempt. Robyn sank back. Janelle didn't move. Christine gripped Janelle's arm. Tell me she's lying. Tell me you didn't know. But Janelle's silence said everything. Meri watched from across the aisle, not triumphant, not relieved, just exhausted. Because she understood now, this wasn't the end. It was another fracture in a wall already cracked beyond repair. And in that fracture, something darker was waiting. Was Janelle guilty, or protecting a secret even more devastating? The next morning, the courtroom was quieter than prayer. Not because there was nothing left to say, but because everyone was still trying to breathe after what Robyn had done. Her accusation didn't just explode, it poisoned. She had named Janelle Brown, the calm, unshakable sister wife, the one who'd always been the voice of reason, as a conspirator in the greatest deception of them all. And now it was Janelle's turn to speak. She entered the courtroom with no attorney, no armor, just a plain beige sweater and that familiar steadiness that fans had always admired. She took the stand. She didn't blink. You understand you are under oath? The judge asked. I do. The air trembled. Meri's attorney stepped forward cautiously. Mrs. Brown, you've been part of this family for decades. You know how it works better than anyone. So let's begin simply. Did you know Solomon may not be Kody Brown's biological son? A pause. Then, yes. The word cracked through the room like a whip. Christine's hand flew to her mouth. Kody flinched. Robyn sat stone still. You confess that? The attorney asked, stunned. I do. The gallery roared to life again. Gasps, murmurs, disbelief. Meri leaned forward, eyes burning not with rage but heartbreak. The kind of pain that comes from realizing the knife in your back was held by someone you once called sister. When did you learn the truth? Janelle took a deep breath, her voice trembling just slightly. The day Solomon was born. Robyn called me crying. Said there was a chance that the baby wasn't Kody's. She said it was Darren. The timelines overlapped. I told her she needed to find out. But she said no. Said a DNA test would destroy the family. And I believed her. I thought I was protecting everyone. So you agreed to keep quiet? Janelle's eyes lowered. Yes. Christine shook her head, whispering, no, not Janelle. But the truth had already left Janelle's lips. The lawyer's tone hardened. You were Meri's best friend. Why didn't you tell her? Janelle's voice cracked. Because I was scared. Scared of what? Of losing everything. Of watching what little was left of our family fall apart. She turned toward Meri now, voice trembling. I'm not proud of it, Meri. But at that time, everything was collapsing. You were already being pushed aside. Christine was done. And Robyn was the glue. Or that's what we told ourselves. If Kody had known then, everything would have exploded. So yes, I helped bury it. And I regret it every single day. Silence, some betrayals scream. Others whisper. This one ached. Meri rose from her seat, voice shaking. Your Honor, I have one question. The judge nodded. Meri stepped closer to the stand, eyes glistening. Did you ever think about how that lie hurt me? Janelle looked down, then up. I did. But I thought you were strong enough to survive it. Meri's voice cracked. I wasn't. The silence that followed was deeper than any cry. Later, behind closed doors, the lawyers whispered strategy. The cameras were off, but the damage was already broadcast across every face. Kody sat white as chalk. She betrayed us, he muttered. Robyn's reply cut like a blade. You betrayed us first. The moment I gave birth, you stopped being our husband. And with that, another truth, another wound. The Brown family's house of secrets trembled once more. Because what started as a confession was about to become a war. Because what started as a confession was about to become a war. The air feels thick enough to choke on. The words Solomon Holt still echo through the courtroom like a curse no one dares to repeat, and for the first time since this trial began, Kody doesn't protest. His face, once flushed with fury and denial, is now carved in stone. Judge Wilcox removes his glasses, rubbing his temples like a man realizing the story before him has spiraled into something darker than law, something almost biblical. Then, in an unexpected turn, he looks up and says, I want to hear from someone who wasn't directly involved. Someone who saw, who lived it, but wasn't in the deceit itself. A murmur spreads. The air trembles. Meri's lawyer nods. We have one more witness. The doors open and Christine Brown walks in. The entire courtroom reacts, a ripple of breath, 1,000 heartbeats in sync. Even the stenographer, who's been emotionless for days, stiffens in her chair. Christine's presence is electric, her composure haunted but resolute. She's sworn in, raises her right hand, and takes the stand like a woman walking into the storm she once ran from. Her voice, when it breaks the silence, is sharper than glass. I left that family because of lies. Because of silence. Because of fear. She turns, locking eyes with Kody. And because my husband stopped being a husband. The words don't just strike, they shatter. Kody looks down, unable to hold her gaze. Then Christine looks at Meri. I didn't know what Robyn or Janelle knew, but I saw what it did to you, Meri. I watched you collapse under secrets everyone else chose to ignore. I watched you fade out of our pictures, our gatherings, our lives. And I did nothing. Her voice trembles, breaking through tears. You deserved loyalty, not pity. She glares toward Janelle. And you were supposed to be her sister. Tears glisten in Christine's eyes as she looks back at Meri. But today, I stand with you. Not as a wife, not as a rival, but as a woman who finally sees the truth. The gallery murmurs. Meri's tears fall, not out of pain, but out of release. This trial for her is no longer about vengeance. It's about the reclamation of truth, a truth built one scar at a time. Outside the courthouse, the crowd has turned restless. Handmade signs rise like banners of rebellion. Justice for Meri. DNA doesn't lie. Truth hurts but heals. Cameras flash, anchors shout, and hashtags flood every social feed. Inside, Judge Wilcox takes a deep breath. Given the emotional weight of today's testimony, he announces, this court will adjourn until Monday. I urge all parties to consult counsel and consider settlement terms before we resume. Kody bolts out like thunder, furious, humiliated. Robyn remains seated, hollow, her mascara smudged and her gaze unfocused. Janelle, meanwhile, inches toward Meri and whispers, I'm sorry. Meri doesn't respond, but she doesn't turn away either. That night, in a dim hotel room overlooking the courthouse, Meri sits alone. Her reflection in the window looks like a ghost of her old self, tired but free. On her laptop glows a draft email she never sent. The subject line reads, You lost me before I left. She rereads it one last time, then deletes it. Not because it isn't true, because he no longer deserves to read it. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. A single message. You need to know something else. Call me. It's about Solomon's birth certificate. Darren. Her breath catches. She calls instantly. Meri. Darren's voice trembles on the other end. The name on that birth certificate, it was altered. Weeks after the birth, I checked the hospital records. Someone changed it quietly. The original surname wasn't Brown. Meri goes cold. What? Solomon's original last name was Holt. The line goes dead. Monday, 11:14 a.m. The courtroom feels different, colder, heavier. Every person in the gallery can feel that something irreversible is about to happen. Judge Wilcox calls for order. I received new documents over the weekend, he begins, his tone razor sharp. If these are authentic, they could redefine the entire case. Meri rises slowly and walks to the bench, clutching a folder. Inside, the document that will detonate the courtroom. Solomon's original birth certificate, bearing the name Solomon Holt, not Brown. The modification was made a month after birth. Signed by Robyn Brown, chaos erupts. Gasps, shouts, reporters scrambling for their phones. Kody slams his fists on the table. You changed his name and didn't tell me? Robyn sobs uncontrollably. I didn't know what else to do. You weren't there. But Kody's face doesn't rage, it empties. His fury has turned into numb disbelief. The man who built a legacy on control and unity now stares into the ashes of a lie. Because deep down, he knows. The foundation of his family wasn't love, it was illusion. Judge Wilcox studies the document. Changing a name isn't illegal, he says carefully. But doing so to deceive a legal guardian crosses into fraud. Fraud? Kody snaps. I signed everything, insurance, school, legal papers, believing he was mine. That's not confusion. That's deception. Robyn wipes her eyes. I didn't do it to hurt you, Kody. I did it because I was terrified. And for the first time, the courtroom sees it. Fear, not malice, but fear. Yet fear doesn't cleanse guilt. It only muddies truth. The judge calls Robyn back to the stand. Did you, Mrs. Brown, knowingly alter documents related to Solomon's paternity? Her pause feels eternal. Then I made the request. But I didn't do it alone. Meri's lawyer leans forward. Who helped you? Robyn's eyes wander toward the back of the room, trembling, tears spilling over. And then she says the name that cracks the silence wide open. William Brown. The courtroom freezes. Kody's jaw slackens. Christine's hand flies to her chest. Even the judge blinks twice as if to confirm he heard correctly. You're saying, the judge presses, Kody's father helped you falsify this record? Robyn nods weakly. He told me not to worry. That no one ever had to know. That it would protect the family. The shock is seismic. The patriarch himself, the man whose moral code once defined their faith, was part of the deceit. Meri's attorney doesn't hesitate. Your Honor, we request a subpoena for William Brown's private records. Emails, letters, anything related to this matter. The judge nods grimly. Granted. But there's a twist. William Brown has been dead for 6 years. No testimony. No defense. Only whatever evidence remains buried in his archives. And what they uncover next will make everything that's happened so far look like a prelude. That night, Christine and Janelle find Meri in her hotel room. No more ice, no more distance, just exhaustion and truth. Christine exhales. I spent years thinking you were the enemy, she says quietly. Turns out, you were the only one who saw the war coming. Turns out, you were the only one who saw the war coming. The courthouse stood silent beneath a gray Arizona sky, its marble steps slick with early morning rain, like the world itself had been rinsed clean before judgment. Inside, the air was heavy, tense, and waiting. The courtroom wasn't filled with noise or motion. It was filled with the weight of what was about to be said. At the center of it all sat Meri Brown. For years, her name had been whispered behind closed doors, her loyalty questioned, her silence mistaken for weakness. But now, as she stood beneath the fluorescent light of the courtroom, that same silence had become her weapon. The years of endurance, the quiet humiliation, the nights spent wondering how everything had fallen apart, all of it had led here. The judge's gavel rested untouched, yet the entire room felt as though it had already been struck. Every breath, every heartbeat, belonged to the moment. Even the air seemed afraid to move. Kody Brown sat at the defense table, posture tight, jaw clenched. He looked less like the confident patriarch who once commanded a family, and more like a man cornered by his own decisions. Robyn sat beside him, hands shaking inside her lap, her lips moving silently, perhaps in prayer or fear. The others, Christine, Janelle, even distant family members, filled the gallery, caught between heartbreak and vindication. Then Meri rose. The sound of her chair scraping against the wooden floor sliced through the silence. She didn't flinch, didn't fidget, didn't glance toward Kody, not even once. When she spoke, her voice was low, but it carried. It filled every empty corner of that room. "I kept quiet for 12 years, she said. I told myself it was loyalty, that keeping peace was worth the pain. But peace built on secrets is just another kind of prison." Gasps rippled through the gallery. The words weren't angry. They were heavier than anger. They were truth, spoken by a woman who had nothing left to lose. Kody's face hardened, a mask of control barely holding. Robyn's eyes glistened with tears she didn't yet understand how to stop. The prosecutor stepped forward, sensing the shift. The truth was no longer a theory. It was alive in the room. From her briefcase, she withdrew a manila folder thick with papers. Bank records, land contracts, digital transfers, each stamped and signed. She handed it to the judge, her tone calm but merciless. "Your Honor, this evidence confirms that funds from the Coyote Pass Trust, originally designated for joint family investment, were redirected to an account held privately under Robyn Brown's name." The room erupted. Murmurs, gasps, the scraping of chairs as reporters leaned forward. The sound of Kody's breath hitched audibly through the microphone. Robyn turned to him, whispering frantically. But Kody didn't move. His hands gripped the edge of the table, knuckles pale. The empire he'd spent years defending, the spiritual family, the reality image, the narrative of unity, was collapsing in real time. Meri didn't gloat. She didn't smile. She simply watched the truth take shape like something sacred. "You told me," she said, her voice trembling but unbroken, "that a good wife keeps family business private. That silence keeps us safe. But all silence ever did was make me complicit in your lies." The judge leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Mr. Brown," he said, "do you have any explanation for these transfers?" Kody opened his mouth, but nothing came out. For the first time in his life, words failed him. His eyes darted toward Robyn, searching for help, but she was already falling apart, tears streaming, mascara smudging as her body trembled under the weight of exposure. "I didn't know," she cried out suddenly. "I thought it was handled by the accountants. Kody said it was temporary." The courtroom fell into chaos, murmurs rising again, the judge banging his gavel to restore order. But amid the noise, Meri stood motionless. Years of gaslighting, of spiritual manipulation, of being made to feel small, gone. In their place stood something fierce. "You both built a kingdom on loyalty you didn't deserve," she said quietly. "Now you can watch it burn." Her words didn't echo. They stayed. The judge cleared his throat, steadying his tone. "Given the presented evidence, the court will move forward with formal proceedings. Misappropriation of joint family funds is a serious offense. This matter will not be dismissed." A gavel struck, once, twice. The sound was final. Kody lowered his head. The man who once boasted about control, destiny, divine purpose, looked small. Robyn sobbed into her hands, shoulders shaking. The gallery was silent again, But it wasn't the silence of fear this time. It was the silence of justice. Meri gathered her things, not hurriedly, but deliberately. As she turned toward the door, she paused beside Kody's table. For a long moment, she just looked at him, the man who once convinced her that faith meant obedience. Then she spoke the words that would follow him forever. "You taught me to keep the family secrets," she said. "But secrets only rot the walls that hide them. I'm done living in that house." And with that, she walked out. Not as a discarded wife, not as a victim of faith or control, but as a woman who finally set herself free. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance. The courthouse doors swung shut behind her with a sound that felt like the end of an era. The rain began to fall again, steady, cleansing, almost applauding. Inside, Robyn collapsed into her chair, whispering to herself that it couldn't be true. Kody stared at the floor, realizing that for the first time in his life, silence was no longer protection. It was punishment. And as Meri disappeared down the courthouse steps, the camera of truth lingered, on the empty witness stand, on the folder of exposed accounts, and on the faint echo of a woman's voice saying the one thing that destroyed their illusion for